On this episode of Garage Talk, we're going to talk about fast food and fast cars, and you'll be surprised who Erik says is his favorite.
Then we look at the wild weekend of racing where Formula One, IndyCar, and NASCAR all had something a little interesting happen.
Grab your White Castle sliders, your McDonald's fries, or whatever you like, and listen to the all-new episode of FR Racing's Garage Talk right now. All right, welcome to an all-new FR Racing's Garage Talk. I'm TJ Flook.
I'm Erik Richardson.
I am slightly better today.
Sound better.
I sound quite a bit better. Did you know on Sunday when we recorded, I had 102 fever?
Sounded like it.
But I still did it. I still showed up. So I
Didn't
I
want to
did
get fined, did you?
I'm only here because I have to be. No. I didn't know. I finished up and I'm like, man, I feel kind of warm. And I went and I grabbed the thermometer and I'm like 102.3. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, I'm warm, but I also don't have air conditioning.
You youpers.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be a little cooler up here, but it's in mid 80s.
Wow, that's pretty warm.
Yeah,
And
it'll probably snow here in a couple of weeks.
in the topic of weather, Phoenix finally snapped its consecutive 100-degree plus day streak at 113 days. The prior record before that was, I believe, in 2020 when it was 76 days in a row. So
I would still take that over humidity any day of the week.
Well, the problem is last year in July, we had out of the entire month of July last year was probably the worst month ever that I've lived here. The air conditioning ran on, I'm not exaggerating, it ran an average of 23 hours and 45 minutes a day. It would shut off for a little bit at like 2:30 in the morning, and then it would kick right back on 15 minutes later. And I was just like, we had several days of above 115. It was above 112. And it's like, oh, you live in Phoenix. Like, but that's not normal for Phoenix. That was extreme. And
Yeah.
just ACs were going out left and right. And knock on wood, our first AC didn't have a problem until this year. And fun thing about Phoenix homes is that you live in a two-story home built after about 1990 in Phoenix, you have two AC units. You have one for the downstairs, you have one for the upstairs. So
You need it.
Our electric bills suck in the summer. If I told you what I paid for my electric bill in July, and it was lower, like, whatever, I'll throw it out there. The first month I lived in Arizona, and we didn't really understand the whole AC concept, and we were moving in, and the doors were open, and it was hot and everything. Our electric bill for the first month we lived in our house back in 2016 was $560.
Could be worse.
Yeah, in the summertime, let's just say it's in that ballpark. But we figured out, you put the smart thermostats in here. You kind of see that little white thing on the wall. You probably noticed that before. That's a thermostat sensor, a smart sensor that's actually linked to my thermostat. And so it actually goes off of motion. It also goes off of time. So like at night, this is my office. This is where I work during the day. Like, yeah, I want this to be cool during the day, but when I'm in bed, I don't care. I don't care if this goes a few degrees above the threshold to kick the AC on. Our thermostat's in the hallway, which opens up to the living room. That's not an accurate temperature either. So having these smart thermostats, I'll tell you a message I just got off the air. We had a protest tonight, couple of protests tonight, and as of this recording, they are not pending an outcome. We will not be discussing until after the fact.
It was a wild week of racing for us, really.
It was a wild week of racing, which we'll get into. But finishing that thought, with these thermostats, and you put these sensors in all the bedrooms and downstairs, scattered around the house. I paid for the sensors and the smart thermostat in like 9 months from the savings from it. I mean, it was a big investment up front, but like I got my money back in 9 months, and I've had these for like 5 years now. So like this is more than paid for itself.
more than money ahead at this point.
Yeah, it's like I'm an electrical engineer by trade. I love the smart home crap. You open up the smart home app on Apple, and I show people at work and just scroll through all the light switches, and it's like, hey, look, I got a smart switch. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. It's like I it's like I love that stuff. And I have all these like automation scripts where I'll tell my phone when I'm walking home from dropping the kids off, and I just go, I'm home. Opens my garage door, unlocks my door, turns off the security alarm.
It's funny. We're like the exact contrast where you have all that, and I'd much rather have the pencil and paper and a hard key.
Yeah, it's but yeah, and this is one of our partners too, Philips Hue. This is a Philips Hue switch. You can program this to control your Philips Hue lights. I have color bulbs above my head, as you saw, and we've done a lot of stuff with Philips Hue. Really cool stuff. You check
Once I'm
out.
actually settled and I know I'm going to be somewhere for more than a year and a half, I will definitely be getting set up with Philips. Make it fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun, and I have the light above the sim rig, which you can kind of see, maybe. Yeah, there you go. The little white light over there. That's a Philips smart light, and I have it synced that when we have a flag change when we're racing, it changes colors. So it'll turn green, it turns yellow, it turns
Yes,
white.
yeah, I want that because depending how your monitors are set up, you may or may not see it if you're focused in a battle, but you see that bright light show up.
That light strip you saw turn green a couple minutes ago, that's a color changing light strip from Philips Hue that is also linked to that. So when I would live stream and we'd go green, that strip would turn green, and it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. It's really
Be
stupid,
sure
but
to
I
check
enjoy
out
it.
the blog article that you wrote
I did,
about
yeah.
how to get that set up.
So I believe it's at frracingonline.com/Philips Hue. That's Philips with one L. And yeah, check it out. I'll show you how to set that up. Put a Philips Hue light in at your home with iRacing. ACC, I believe, is also on there. There's one other, and I'm drawing a blank, but it tells you in the post. So you race any of those games, you put the Philips Hue lights, the flags change colors, and obviously if you get a meatball flag, my screen turns orange, and get that a
And
lot.
even if it's just you're racing and on your own there, had that extra little color display, but if you're a streamer, it adds a little bit to your live stream.
It does. Yeah, and that's the big thing. Is it's fun. It adds to the live stream, and yeah, I mean that's really about it. But let's get into the let's start with our iRacing. We had a week.
Yeah. But Long
We had a week.
Beach IndyCar,
Did
my
not go
first
well.
DNF of that series.
I rage quit. Not be. I mean, it was going bad, but I rage quit because of my kids were really irking me, and I thought they were screaming and crying like somebody had gotten hurt, and I wasn't doing well, and I just sent it, and I spun out, and I just took the tow, and I left. I walk over, my kids like, I'm not tired. I don't want to go to bed. I'm like, then why were you screaming like you injured yourself? Like, kids.
You had to run that one extra lap too, didn't you? Or you went back out at some point.
Yeah, I had to. Well, I had a wreck. I had to sit for like 5 minutes, and then I had to come back to a drive-through. It was. It
Yeah,
wasn't
I
good.
only ran 33 of the 50. I
I
didn't
quit.
realize one of the drivers gave me a little bit of a hard time. There is a damage mode that you can get a report. I didn't realize the 19 of the first 28 laps, I had no front wing. And
It didn't
somehow I
seem
was
to.
still turning laps.
It still didn't. It didn't seem to impact you that badly. I would have never guessed.
No,
Uh,
I don't know how, but I kept it going. I
yeah.
don't know how I wasn't meatballed because I popped the wall pretty good a few times.
I just. I had some decent runs. They were slower, but there were too many points where I just locked up going into one.
Yeah,
That's
Long Beach
especially
Street Circuit's tough.
when you're coming, you got that long stretch. You're probably going to use some push to pass from time to time on that long stretch to and then you got to brake hard. get yourself down to probably most drivers get down to second. At least that's what I was doing. It's what a couple other drivers were doing when I was watching.
Yeah, I was getting all the way down the first gear too.
I feel like getting down to first gear there gets a little too squirrely. Like I felt like I had more control getting it down to second, and then when I would go to the fountain, then I would shift down to one as I took the fountain, and then had a pretty good launch out of there.
Yeah, still a little novice on road courses.
I mean, I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of work to do on the fundamentals in the off season. I mean, I'm getting to the point now driving where I have the race labs, I have the throttle telemetry, and it's hard to drive and concentrate and battle and figure out, you got to do all this yourself in sim racing. You don't have a spotter or an actual real crew chief telling you like
What
to do.
adjustments to make, and
Yeah. And so you're doing all that yourself. And I'm looking down at the telemetry and I'm realizing, like, with Indianapolis for Wednesday Night Dash this week, I realized like I was letting off the brake too quickly in turn one, wasn't getting down. I wasn't slowing down enough to get back on the throttle fast enough. And I had a very gradual rise up the throttle coming out of one and was losing quite a bit of time there. And it took me probably 3/4 of the race to realize that, but I did. I realized it, and then all of a sudden, I'm catching. I made up ground. I ended up picking up 2 spots right at the end of the race and finished in the top 10. So I'm like, okay, today was a very good learning experience on a track that's very difficult to pass at.
yeah, I finally figured something out during qualifying, and then it just helped the longer that the race went on. Based on how the practice session went on Monday, I figured I was going to turn about 5 laps and rage quit.
But it's Indianapolis. Like, you can't rage quit at Indianapolis.
Somehow finished up in 6th. So, hey,
you know what?
We'll take it.
It's like they said, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. You stayed clean. You didn't get into too many incidents. You didn't get into any major issues. There was a big wreck ahead of me. I had plenty of time to slow down and get around him. I made some good passes. I defended well, I think, and it was just like, I walked out of there very encouraged with how that went. It's like, I would love to be up towards the front and battle the leaders, but I think I took a very positive step forward today in my development. It was just kind of that aha moment.
Yeah, it's trying to figure these cars out too, because they changed in the previous update. So a little bit looser.
Why do we always pick a car that they do some kind of major change like mid-season? They don't touch them for years. And then when we do a season with them, it's like, oh, let's change the ARCA paint right before you start your first race.
Yeah,
oh,
they changed up ARCA.
The day of.
Brought the Gen 4 out.
Yeah, then they did that.
They changed the trucks mid-season. Then we switched to Xfinity and they changed those up. And it's like, what is going on?
It's like they're conspiring. I'm gonna go find some tinfoil and put it on my hat and say iRacing is out to get us.
Yeah, I think they're watching us or something. Guess we're doing something right then.
That's all right. You know what? I'm thrilled. I'm very thrilled. Like, as bad as Tuesday went, I did make some good progress there, and I made great progress on Wednesday this week. So I'm really happy with that. And you, on the other hand, last Friday night ran a 6-hour race.
Yeah, 6 hours at Indy. Teamed up with Lucas
Puntarelli from actually from all of our leagues. He's gone full in with us, and yeah, you and Lucas teamed up and did the 6-hour together. Tell us about that. I broadcasted the last hour of it, but not yours, actually.
What did we finish? I think we were 9th? I forget exactly where we finished. No.
You were 6th in class.
Yeah, we were 6th. There were 12 entries in our class, and we were positive iRatings, so.
Yeah, and you were 6th in class and like out of 44 overall, something like that.
We were 17th through. Yeah, something in there.
I mean, I would say that's especially Lucas. This was his first.
Yeah, it was his first endurance of any sort. I've done 5 or 6 of them now. that we actually kept it pretty clean. You have a max of 35 penalty points, and we didn't even have to use that. So no pass throughs. We kept it pretty clean. And, we just ran our race and turned some laps. And our goal was just to finish and hopefully not spend too long in the pits. And I think we accomplished that pretty well.
And then Hunter Hughes and Ian Miller also ran an LMP2, and they were in a slightly different split, but they walked away in fifth and almost caught fourth. They had a drive-through at the end that kind of prevented that, but they were fifth in class, again, out of 12 in the class and 44 overall. So again, great run from Hunter and Ian. And you missed this after we signed off. You had left already. And it was the funniest thing between the two of them because so Ian came back and ran. He took Wednesday night dash off because of his work schedule, but he ran Coda last week and won.
Yep.
And Hunter finished second, and Hunter said, "Oh, I'm gonna run Long Beach this week." And Ian's like, "No, you're not." He goes, "You stole my Coda win from me last week." It's like, no, I don't want to hear it. You stole my Coda win coming back with your one-off.
That's funny.
It was fantastic. I laughed about that. I don't think I even told you about it.
No.
But then he didn't run Long Beach, so
yeah, we had a small group at Long Beach, but
well, there was some
technical
scheduling
things.
issues where iRacing decided to have a mind of its own again. So note to anyone who ever starts a league or schedules things in advance after, if you schedule something and then they run an update, go check your schedule, make sure your configs are correct, because more often than not, something gets changed. And I don't know why, and iRacing is never as denied saying we didn't mess with it, but we've had scheduled races, they'd run a patch, and then the time gets changed like it did for Long Beach this week.
Yeah, it's what, 9:30, and a message goes out like, "Hey, are we starting at 11:30?" No. Why would we do that?
Yeah, because that's what it says. And I'm like, I know it was correct because I looked at it the other day. And when I was test driving, it was correct the other day before the update.
Yeah, and I know I said it right because I would not have made a random 11:29 start time.
Yeah, it was just really weird. And we've had cases before where the configs get dropped on the fixed config setups. So like there's no configs loaded.
Maybe a little bit more understandable if they change something because they changed the dynamics of the car.
That can get really, we ran into that already, but we always spot check, and fortunately a couple of the drivers saw the 11:29, like, oh, we're starting late. Like, no, we're not. No.
Yeah, I feel bad that they missed.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but we had also one time where we had a race that magically after an update changed from laps to minutes. And I'm like, I'm 99% sure that I did not set this race to minutes.
Did we manually throw the checkered flag on that one?
No, I think we actually just ran it as minutes. Just said, all right, we're gonna run this, and
it runs about the same amount of time.
Wasn't it an Indy race? I think.
I don't know.
I think it was an Indy race where it went as time instead of a lap.
We've done so many races at this point. They all
blend
together.
Yeah, they all blur together. But overall, for those, if you've started or if you are thinking about starting your own league in iRacing, you have to monitor your schedule closely because these weird things happen from time to time, and they will ruin your evening. If we haven't had any major problems yet, but like I can only imagine like you have a fixed config, it gets messed up and everybody can't drive the cars because it's like, oh, we loaded Bristol at Daytona. That's not going to work.
And we're not the only league that has had issues. I've been in some other discords with leagues and stuff, and they've had issues too where like the session didn't start or it didn't do what it should have. And I would not be surprised actually if our Indy league, Indy race actually has a hiccup, is I currently have it set up to where it is a 4-lap average qualifying to get into the race.
You do?
Yes.
You mean for the Indianapolis race?
Uh-huh.
No kidding.
Yeah, you actually set it up through heat races. And then there's way to set qualifying and laps and average, and
No kidding. I didn't know that. I
not just
haven't.
4 laps for the best time, but it's a 4 lap average time.
You know what else we haven't done? We haven't formally announced our fun race yet.
No, we haven't. We've still been a little
I
back and
think we
forth
I
on it.
think we got it figured out.
Well, let's announce it.
Are we gonna do it? We're gonna do
Yeah, let's
that?
do it.
All right. So the Erik, the track is
Oh, I don't even remember.
it's gonna be Bristol Motor Speedway. And the cars are
Oh, what was it? The Legends,
the Legends, the Advanced Legends,
the Mini Stock,
the Mini Stock,
and what? The Whalen
the
Modified.
the Tour Modified. So we're gonna do a Tour Modified out.
I'm probably gonna putt around in a Legends car.
Oh, I bought the Tour Modified a while ago because I was looking for a
I don't have
series to
that
like,
one.
I was looking for a series to try, and the only ever time I've ever driven a Tour Modified is, you remember the NASCAR Thunder game from like 2005 or so?
I don't know if I
It,
played that one.
I'm pretty sure it was the one with Dale Jr. on the cover. The EA NASCAR Thunder 2005, I want to say, or maybe six. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. But it was like you had this career mode where you had to start in modifieds. And then when you got good enough at modifieds, you get an offer to go up to the truck series. And then you go up to Xfinity, or I guess I think it was still the Busch series back then. They called it the National Series on the
Can't
in the
imagine
game.
why.
Yeah, yeah. And then they moved you up to the Cup series, and eventually when you got to the best of the best. And but yeah, that was like my first experiences driving modifieds in NASCAR Thunder 2005 or 2006 or whatever that was. But those things are fast. I,
Yeah, I may
I'm
need to check one out.
I'm kind of like imagining what a mini stock with modifieds like. I feel like it's one of those, like, the thing looks like a tank to begin with. And I feel like if the mini stock bumps into the Tour Modified, I think the Modified's going to destroy it. And that's what we're here for.
That's why it's a fun race.
So it's a fun race. It's multi-class. We'll have some more specific rules closer to the time. So anyone who's raced with us in our Indy League, in our uh, Wednesday Night Dash, you are welcome to join. We're going to pay out a prize to each class winner. I think we've been doing $10 for the class
I
winners
think so.
each year. Yeah, so $10 for each class winner. And yeah, this is going to be really stupid, but
Yep.
I mean, last year we did the truck, the Gen 4, and we did the 87, but nobody did it the 87. It was everybody was in a truck or a Gen 4.
Yeah, I went truck.
So did I. Yeah, it was like me, you, and Tyler. Victor, you were the only
Yeah.
trucks. Everybody else went Gen 4. And the scary thing was Tyler was hanging on with the Gen 4s while he was in a truck.
Yeah,
Like,
you could get around the turn better than a Gen 4, but on the straights, they pulled away.
that
And then
thing
you'd
blew
catch
you
up. So
away.
it was like a yo-yo.
But then the two of you crashed out and I ended up winning. I was like, yeah, I won the class race.
Yeah, I forget what happened. I think
Yeah.
one of us got loose and we just laughed.
So we're going to do that the week after the Wednesday Night Dash finale. So I think that would be November 6th, I think is
Yeah,
our fun
something
race.
around
So
there.
so I'm gonna clip this and put this into the Discord because nobody else in the league knows that we are doing this yet. I mean, they have to expect something silly, but this,
This might take the cake.
I mean, at least the Gen 4 and truck was semi-practical. This isn't.
No, what we need to do for a fun race at some point is have 4 different cars out there, put the Formula V, the Formula Ford, the actually 5, the IR18, one of the super formulas, and the W13. 5 cars, multi-class. Let's go.
There was this league, they went to like iRacing Super Speedway and they did like the IR18, the next gen, and a Formula V. And there was a guy driving a Formula V going about, like 80 miles an hour around iRacing Super Speedway, where you've got an IR18 coming around at 240. And just narrow. I remember this video, just narrowly misses, like absolutely destroying that Formula V.
So yeah, we'll do that. It's gonna be madness, but it's gonna be fun.
It will be
Maybe it can be crazy and be featured on iRacing.
it will be next levels of stupid, and we are here for that.
Exactly.
Because if there's something, the only thing that we do well is stupid.
We've proven that.
We've proven that time and time again. And my wife will verify that I will say and do stupid things all the time. And I'm sure, Erik, I don't know your wife that well, but I feel like probably the same thing happens for you.
If Mike Greenberg hadn't already taken the book title,
Yes.
My wife thinks I'm an idiot. I could have written that one too.
I said the same thing. I said, damn it, Greenberg, that was going to be my title.
Come on, Greenie.
But then again, I think like most married men could probably argue that that's a fair title for their autobiography. He just got to it first.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that'll be fun. I don't think we'll be unless we can get talking to broadcast that. I kind of feel like we need to.
It'd be fun if we could get somebody in.
I kind of feel like we need somebody to broadcast that, because that just
screams chaos.
because I'm totally going modified on that.
Oh, especially if you get like 30 of us out there.
Could you imagine like we have like one mini stock and like 20 modifieds?
From what I can tell, I think the legends and the mini stocks are gonna be pretty close in time.
They are. It's just you got that modified is going to be whipping around the track.
I will destroy the tires on the Legends car.
The modified, I believe I ran a test lap at Bristol, and I want to say the modified was about 4 seconds a lap faster than the mini stock.
Oh, jeez. So you're gonna be passing every like 4 to 5 laps.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, I'm not, I just took the mini stock out there for the first time, so I'm my mini stock time is not exactly going to be like setting records, but
still, there's enough time difference that
yeah, it's gonna be
hilarious.
I just want to see what a collision between a mini stock and a modified. See, in my modified paint, I need to show you what I picked out, but somebody made a White Castle paint for the modified, and that's what I've been using for my. Oh, I love White Castle, and we now have 2 White Castles in the Phoenix metro area.
I remember our White Castle stop when we were
Oh,
juniors in high school.
we've had a few White Castle stops, and I know which one you're referring to.
Yep.
Involved a concert on the night before a certain standardized test.
That didn't count for anything.
And with the score I got on it that year, it definitely didn't count for anything.
I think it maybe counted for like scholarships, but
I was screwed anyway. Let's be
it was
honest.
a practice test essentially.
Let's be
so there's no
honest.
point in being good on it.
My head was just throbbing that morning.
I felt fine, but hey.
I was so my wife just does not like White Castle. Granted, she's had it like one time, but
I've not had it since college.
I had it a couple years ago when I went into the office, and in Scottsdale, and I left early and went to White Castle. And so I'm driving home on the highway eating spiders as I'm driving home on the highway. Because I'm like, I got a 40-minute drive home, so I'm just gonna eat while I drive, and got my onion chips.
If you're listening and you've never had White Castle, I'll let you figure it out. They're tasty, but there's a reason they're called sliders.
There's kind of a rule is like you're not supposed to eat White Castle before midnight. It's kind of like Taco Bell. It's like the same. Yeah. Like you can't have Taco Bell before midnight. It's not allowed.
Nope. After, it's a rule.
But so they opened a White Castle like, I don't know, 20 minutes from me now. And the other day we were trying to figure out what we were having for dinner. And I got my kids who have, no idea what they're doing. And I just said, start chanting White Castle. And so they start going, White Castle, White Castle. They just get, no.
One time in college, we were up in Chicago with friends and we got a Crave crate.
Yes, the briefcase, the cardboard briefcase.
Yes. Not just the case, the crate.
The crate, the 30 sliders in a crate.
Yeah, we ate all of them.
I did that where I walked in at a White Castle 2 in the morning and I'm like, yeah, I need a crate case. They looked at me like, for you? Like, no, I'm going to be sharing it. Just
like, it's not hard to eat 6, 8, 10 of them by yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're that big.
Yeah, they're small. But man, I still like the onion chips are my favorite. Like, I think they're my favorite side of like any place you can go. I mean, Rallies, Checkers, their fries, they're good, but like I can't get that here either.
So we mentioned White Castle. You gotta at least say Harold and Kumar.
Yeah. Harold and Kumar. Yep. They made them globally famous. So I have to ask, from a fast food standpoint, it can be regional or nationals. French fries. Who's your French fry pick?
Currently none. I don't go anywhere fast food.
That's interesting. I would not have expected that. I guess I should have, but really, you don't no fast food at all.
Like the fast food would be more like if we stop at Chick-fil-A.
Okay, yeah, that counts.
Like
That's
it's
still
it is not my decision to ever go to Chick-fil-A. I actually despise that place. I'll eat it, but I will never go there of my own accord.
Fair enough. I mean, their waffle fries are pretty good.
They are good.
They're good. I'll take those.
Rallies are always a classic.
I always like I mean, I haven't been to Indiana in years, but the last time I was in Indiana, what did I do? I just left one day. It was for my brother's wedding, and I left. I'm like, I'll be back. Like, where are you going? I'm like, where do you think I'm going? I'm going to Rallies. Back.
Like if I do fast food, it's the like step up fast food, the Tijuana Flats, the like Qdoba or Chipotle.
See, I'm a big
kind of like that.
I'm a sucker for Culver's though. I love Culver's.
I'm not a fan of Culver's.
Really?
You don't all over the place. I will not.
I love Culver's, and especially their cheese curds. Those cheese curds are awesome. I love those. And but if I have to pick fries, I would say probably Rallies, but I would give an honorable mention to Arby's for their curly fries. Like I don't like anything else at Arby's for many reasons, but the Arby curly fries, those are awesome.
I think it's probably been at least 10, 15 years since I've been to an Arby's.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been to Arby's, and there's a long story that's not going to be for this show why I don't go there.
There will be places that, like, if I have to, I'll go there. We actually had a super late flight and everything was closed. McDonald's was the only option. I went hungry.
Really? You would? I'm okay. I'm a sucker for McDonald's. Like if they give you the fresh fries, okay, I'm good with that.
I refuse to get
McDonald's. You refuse McDonald's. What about breakfast? No breakfast either?
Nope. The only thing I'll get at McDonald's, well, there's two things. One, I'll do coffee or a drink.
The coffees are good. I will give you that. I do like that McCafe. We do get the McCafe K-Cups from time to time. And those are good. I do like those.
I also haven't had McDonald's coffee in years.
But you know what? You're not helping our chances of getting a fast food sponsor.
No, I'm not.
I don't like fast food. All right, we can cross White Castle and McDonald's and Burger King off the list here. But you know, I'm a sucker. Like the people look at me like, you eat fast food. Well, I mean, I don't eat fast food nearly as much as I used to. But like, let's be honest here. I am not the biggest person out there, and I'm I've been very lucky with metabolism. There was a point in my life, actually, the last time you saw me was the heaviest I had ever been, and I dropped. That was in you were in Phoenix, and that was in 2018. was right after my kids were born. We met at Portillo's. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh man, when you take water down the wrong pipe.
I thought you were saying that about Portillo's. I'm like, oh, okay, if you say something bad about Portillo's, that's the show's over. No,
No, Portillo's is like my go-to fast food
love
if I go through
Portillo's.
Fort Wayne or I'm down Fisher's area.
They opened a Portillo's 10 minutes from my house, so I would sport a Portillo's car hands down. I will eat at Portillo's twice a week if they sponsored us. I don't care. I'll put the 30 pounds right back on eating Portillo's twice a week.
Yeah, I will support Portillo's.
Oh man, I love Portillo's. But yeah, like the last time you saw me in person was 2018, right after my kids were born. We went to Portillo's. I remember you had like a 15 passenger van you were driving.
Yep. Yeah,
And
we were out there for swim meet.
and yeah, I was like 30 pounds heavier than what I am now. And like we took these pictures after my kids were born, the newborn photos, and I look at myself. I still see that photo. We have one of them hanging on the stairway walking downstairs. And I look at that photo and I just look at myself. I'm like, oh my God, I was so gross. Just and after that, like I cut out like I was drinking like five, carbonated sodas a day. I'm like, that's gone. And just eating, I still eat fast food, but not anywhere close to what I was before. It just like I'm like, you know what, if I can keep this weight where I am right now as long as I can, I'll be happy. But boy, this show's going off the rails.
And we haven't even hit NASCAR,
No,
IndyCar,
no, we
Formula
haven't.
One.
The IndyCar season's done.
I wish that season was longer.
Yeah,
At
I
least
do.
like another 2 or 3 races. They should be at 20.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just
They're what, half of the NASCAR schedule, and they're still what, 10 short of Formula One. And then they wonder where the marketing is too.
Scott Borchetta, the Big Machine CEO, owns Big Machine Racing, Big Machine Vodka, Big Machine Records out of Nashville. Owns the 48 team, Parker Kligerman's team, who announced his retirement, by the way.
Yeah.
Congratulations to him. I've been trying to get him on the show. I met him. He's a super cool dude. I've met him in person. My kids love him. He was like the first like NASCAR driver they really liked. Yeah,
So
really,
went to
really.
Big Machine Distillery in Nashville as well.
I can't take my kids there. Anyway, he said something to the extent of IndyCar, if they really are serious about growing and getting their audience back, they need to invest about $100 million more per year in marketing. And that guy knows, like, he knows what he's doing. Like, Big Machine is really good at marketing. Like, this guy knows
They are
marketing.
everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere, and they're doing very well. And you have a competitive one-car team in the Xfinity series. Parker is a good driver, but he's pushing top fives. He's had a couple of close calls for wins, and he's not Gibbs. He's not he's not a Penske. He's not a any one of those top tier. He's not a Junior Motorsports, but they're still successful. Like, this guy knows how to market, and if he's telling
and having
IndyCar,
the record label behind it too.
yeah, well, yeah,
That's a huge driver.
but it's like you're telling IndyCar you need to spend $100 million more a year on marketing. I mean, that's obviously a huge chunk of money, but he's 100% right.
You get a couple more races and you find a way to fill the stands.
Like,
And you need people to drive all that stuff, either at the track or within IndyCar organization itself.
all these races that have been canceled after the fact because of poor attendance. Why was it poor attendance? Because you put up one stinking billboard in town. Like,
you need to create a reason for people to come to the race.
Like, there's minimal driver appearances. Like, you need to, like, the fact that I could walk out of my house and go up to the Planet Fitness 5 minutes from where I live, which is 40 minutes from the track, by the way, and go and stand in line to meet Joey Logano, who is a multi-time Cup Series champion. And that line went out the door around the block. It's and Joey Logano is not like a star power name in NASCAR, but he's a great driver. He's a multi-time champion,
not
but like,
he's not the draw of some.
you go to the average person and like, Oh yeah, what sport is Joey Logano in? The average person couldn't tell you.
He's not Jimmy Johnson, Dale
No,
Earnhardt, or Richard Petty.
or Jeff Gordon. Yeah, you say, wait, what did Dale Earnhardt do? Oh, he's a NASCAR. Yeah, but still, like you had a huge line for Joey Logano at a Planet Fitness 40 miles from Phoenix Raceway race week. You had Daniel Suarez making appearances with one of his sponsors that's out here in Phoenix. It's like you got to get these guys into the community other than like, oh, by the way, he'll be at Walmart for 30 minutes signing autographs at this random Walmart location. Like, do some marketing. Come
Yep.
on.
So marketing, get your drivers out there, build the hype.
You fill the seats, you get the TV ratings, all the advertisers will come pouring in.
Yep.
You'll get your money.
Yeah, you get the ratings, and that 100 million's easy now.
You'll make that back. Oh, good. Still not 100% over my illness, but yeah, good enough to drink a beer.
Helps you feel better.
Yeah, it's it's not bourbon. Good enough. So IndyCar season's over. Will Power,
That's unfortunate.
yeah, lap belt came loose, ruined his championship chances. I don't think he was going to catch him anyway. What did Pillow finish in that race? Like sixth?
He had a pretty decent run, but he just kind of cruised.
He cruised, but he still finished pretty high.
Yeah, he just kept it clean. He had a solid car. Yeah, Willpower was basically on a fool's errand anyway, but a mathematical chance.
Okay, he was 11th. I'm a little off.
But he also had to lead
Oh
the
wait,
most
no,
laps
yeah,
too.
yeah. He was 11th.
Power had to get all the bonus points, and it was a long stretch.
All right, so Colton Herta finished second in the championship this year, and that actually puts him with enough points for a super license.
Yeah, they were talking about that on the TV broadcast.
And did you hear what his comment was after that?
I didn't, as I switched over to NASCAR.
He said afterwards, boy, that would have been nice a couple of years ago.
Yeah, finally got his first oval win too.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, I know he's been inconsistent and had some, aggressive moves, which resulted in some DNFs or some poor finishes, but he's really talented. And if he just
got better as the season went on.
He did.
He made a few mistakes of his own doing, but a couple of them, what was it? Road America, that wasn't on him.
No.
He kind of got driven out.
Oh man.
He's starting to
a lot of raw talent
to his own a bit.
Yeah, he's starting to get it.
It's wild too. Pillow has not won on in oval.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow, that is kind of wild. But I mean, when you're so much of your time is on road courses and street courses, what does it matter?
Yeah, half the season does not just turn left.
Hey, speaking of street courses, had an interesting Formula One race last weekend.
Oh, yes. In Azerbaijan.
Did you hear the news about Red Bull and the liveries for Singapore and Coda?
Yeah, apparently they're not running them to keep the weight down.
Yes. That's
really?
So bad. Boy, how far have they fallen? Like, how fast have they fallen off? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge.
Mercedes is going to be running a green for Petronas in Singapore.
But there's also some speculation about the McLaren cars and their legality.
Yeah, I think we've got another case of they kind of found a loophole, and it'll probably get banned after this year.
Yeah, it's one of those, if they're going to ban it, just do it. What they found was enough flex in the rear wing that when they're going down the straightaways, it kind of folds up to get a little bit more air pass through it.
like a
So not
bonus.
quite a full DRS effect,
It's like
but
a bonus DRS. Yeah.
just enough to kind of neutralize and give you some more speed. And then when you hit the slower corners, it comes back down and gives you the downforce you need.
It's pretty brilliant. And there's
Oh,
been
it's
all these designs over the years that they've gone, now every time something like this comes up, the story of all these designs, it's like, oh, water cooled brakes, and oh, those were banned. I think it was Williams did that in the 80s or something like that.
yeah, fantastic design.
Yeah,
They
it's
almost
great.
need to
It's
just
brilliant.
make it as long as you fit within these specs, do whatever you want.
I mean, that's
Because the
part of what
teams
makes
are
it
so
unique.
technologically advanced that they're finding the loopholes and
That's what makes Formula One unique and makes it different from IndyCar. It makes it different from NASCAR. It's
maybe let them run it. But
agree. I
then
agree.
let's see what the other teams come up with. How are they going to combat it? What is Adrian Newey going to do to make their car better than the McLaren at this point?
Replace Lance Stroll. Oh,
Wait. So it'll be fun to see what FIA does, but now that there's more focus going on that, that could explain a little bit.
yeah. I mean, that explains their rapid rise. But hey, you know what? Good for them. It's not
Yeah.
illegal.
And Piastri finally got a clean and clear win.
There was a anniversary thing from NASCAR on speaking of rules. So 2017 Chicagoland, Chase Elliott had like a strip of tape on his right side of the car. Do you remember this?
Yep.
And then after the race, he's being post-race interview, and one of his crew members is like peeling the tape off in the background. And somebody on Reddit caught it and
Yep.
posted a whole thread on Reddit about like, I think Chase Elliott was cheating, and NASCAR opened up an investigation. And Brad Keselowski said, when did NASCAR Reddit turn into the FBI?
It's stuff like that's happened with golf and it's like
Yeah, somebody catches something, and that just you got all these people standing nearby, and some guy on TV's like, there's tape on that car.
it's one of those. It's kind of funny that it happens, but you almost have to draw a limit.
Well, I mean, they got fined, suspended. The crew chief got suspended for like 3 races. So it's like, the punishment happened.
Uh, what do you think? Checo or Signs? Or was it just a racing deal?
I don't know. I thought it was signs up front. Then I watched it like 10 times and like maybe it's a little of both.
Yeah, I want to watch it more. I'm inclined to say Signs. I feel like he did maybe drift a little, but I know Checo is going to try to hold him off the racing line.
Hey, double points for Williams though.
Yeah,
First
I've been able to
on
say that
actually,
for almost two
yeah.
seasons.
I mean, hey, you know what? They're I this what's his name? Col Colapino
Yeah, Cole Pinto.
Colapinto, which is not Canapino, which is also from Argentina, but not the same guy. He looks pretty good out there.
Yeah,
He,
he's
he
doing
looks like
something.
he walked right in mid-season, and like he looks like he belongs out there, which is it's just good for him. I mean, it's unfortunate that Logan Sargent, who was spotted in Nashville, by the way, it's unfortunate that that failed the way it did, but good for Williams. They've been struggling for a long time. They made some gains, and Logan more or less kind of helped them back with his
Spending all the money to fix a car.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then the one time Albon destroys the car and then Logan gets punished for it.
like Albon destroyed his. He has a better chance to score points, so give him your car.
Give him your car, man.
Oh, speaking of stuff, Callum Ilott will be back in
Yes,
IndyCar
good for him. Glad
with
glad he's getting another
Prema.
chance.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Kind of got ran out of Juncos because of a ex teammate and now ex driver.
Yeah, Connor Daly had some good runs there. Be interesting to see if he gets the full-time ride next year. I haven't
What did
heard
we
any
see? There's 11 seats that are open
something
in
like that.
IndyCar.
Yeah, one of them.
And Ganassi has now officially downsized from 5 down to 3.
Yep. Sounds like Stingray Rob is out at Foyt, so I bet he'll end up back at uh with Dale Coyne.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how all that kind of shakes out. It's been the one league that hasn't just been completely silly season yet, except for McLaren and their
Uh,
rotating
I
house.
have to say though, a Foyt team of Ferrucci and Malukas next year, man, that could be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, too bad we couldn't see
They
Ferrucci go to Juncos, team up with Grosjean.
they'd be fist fighting in in the garage every day.
Yeah,
But
that would never happen.
could you imagine that though? Next year, you've got the most likable personality in the IndyCar garage with the most, unlikable personality.
If he's not the most, then he's like second. Because I think Grosjean's pretty polarizing too.
Yeah, I feel like Ferrucci makes more people mad though.
Yeah.
And to close out with before we wrap today, NASCAR. Ooh, that Watkins Glen, that was
That
fun.
was something.
That was fun. I love when I was a kid, I hated road course weeks, and I've said this more than once, but man, I love Watkins Glen weekend.
That one was actually exciting.
It was a
And
good race.
I really like how NASCAR changed up the track. They added the rumble strips and the grooves in turn 1 and turn 10,
Yeah,
turn
ends up
9.
impacting the
And
race.
it didn't matter. They still ran them.
Yeah, but the rumble strip and SVG on that last lap, he that
Busher showed the proper way to move a
yes, he
driver.
did. He moved him. That was an appropriate move. That was not a dump.
He didn't wreck him. He moved him.
I thought SVG when he pulled ahead, I was like, oh, he's gone. There's no way he's catching him. And
Just a little too much speed, clipped
that's
the
why,
entry on bus stop, and
that's
well,
why
that
they
opened the
raced to the
door.
finish line. Yeah, then he
Oh, and they
almost
actually
lost it.
changed the bus stop as well because of the G forces that they were pulling.
Yeah.
So probably some good changes.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, it's so often these changes suck. Like the one repaved lane of Iowa. Phoenix has been controversial for a while.
If they're going to make those changes at Watkins Glen and are trying to control all the off track, let's put the wall, have the curbing, a little foot long buffer, and let's put a wall right
Just
there
just put a wall of tires there.
because that will change how the drivers have to go in. They're not going to be able to go 3, 4, 5 wide and then have to funnel down the single file. That's where we saw a lot of issues.
It made me nervous every single time there'd be a restart. And you'd see like five cars try to consolidate into one or two. And there was always that one that would come and just push it up to the very limit. And you're just like, oh man, are they going to clip that wall? Because if they clip that wall, they're going to take out 15 cars in the process.
And it's funny, you look at it and go, well, at Phoenix, they go 8 wide through the dog leg and they come off track and there's no out of bounds there. But there's also 4 lanes of turn that you can make. Who was it? We saw Kyle Larson driving along the wall through that like turn 1 and 2.
Yep.
And it's so wide that you can do that. And there isn't the out of bounds, which would drastically change up how they do that too. I think they
On
need
that.
to figure something out, but it did create a wild weekend, which
Yeah.
is a lot of fun to watch.
I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. So we got Bristol this week. So we got what, a Thursday, Friday, Saturday race for the trucks, Xfinity, and the
And
trucks have been off for like 3 weeks now.
yeah,
It's so weird, especially after having the Olympics time off, and then they get another 3 weeks off, and then they go through their last handful of races. I mean, there's what,
They
like
are
5 races left?
bringing, yeah, they are going to be bringing the same tire that they ran in the spring.
That will be interesting.
So it'll be fun to see, does it run differently at night? And will we see the same issues where we have tires just flying apart?
Yeah, trucks only have 6 more races left on their schedule.
It's hard to do that season when it's a shorter schedule
Eat for
and you
Xfinity.
start and end at the same place as the Cup Series.
Yeah, we got 8 more races for the Cup Series, including a Talladega race here in a couple weeks. You got the Roval, got Kansas, got Las Vegas, you got Homestead, you got Martinsville, you got Phoenix. I mean, this playoffs have been a lot of fun so far.
And did I hear correctly too that they're gonna have 2 tire options at Phoenix?
I wouldn't be surprised. They got to do something.
I think I did catch that.
They got to do something, and because whatever they've done the last couple of years isn't working. But hey, I'll get to see it in the spring because I'm going to go to the Cup race in the spring, Xfinity in the fall. But I'm looking forward to it. I enjoy going to that. And my kids are staying longer. They're interested for the most part.
That'll be
But
fun to see Saturday night here. How many helmets are thrown, how many shoe pads, and how many fistfights there are afterwards. This race is notorious for bringing out tempers.
oh yeah,
That's why
love it.
at one point everybody wanted to go to Bristol night race.
Oh, I just realized I have to go to a birthday party Saturday. For dang it. Well, guess I'm watching the race sitting. I'll be sneaking off to the side with my phone, just like I was at the other birthday party for Daytona. I watched the first half of the Daytona race, standing in the back, being antisocial, watching it.
That's how it's done.
One of the our neighbor, it was a neighbor's kid's birthday, and our neighbor knows my. And he walks over, he sees I got a headphone in. He goes, "Let me guess, you're watching a NASCAR."
How'd you guess?
I go, "You know me too well, and you don't really know me all that well." So that says something right there. All right, we need to wrap. It's getting late here, and yeah, I still got to post results, pending tentative results. So
Yeah, coming up, we got a doubleheader at Nashville actually, Tuesday and Wednesday.
yeah, and I will actually be in the booth on Tuesday night, more than likely. I asked somebody if they want to fill in. I haven't heard back from them yet. If someone else wants to fill in the booth so I can drive, but if not, you'll be hearing my voice calling my first IndyCar race on Tuesday. So that'll be.
Yeah,
Done what?
should be a fun race.
I've done a truck race this year. Might as well do an IndyCar race before the season ends. So
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how that one goes. Then we'll see what the Xfinity cars do. If it gets a little slippery out there or if they keep some grip.
it should be fun. It's a night race too. Is Indy a night race?
I think it's an evening.
Okay. So
Should be good times.
Yeah, it'll be a good time next week. So tune in Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern and Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. So back to back. It's Nashville week. So
Music City.
oh yeah. At FR Racing Online on your favorite social media platform, frracingonline.com. Like I said, check out our Phillips Hue post about all the cool things you can do with the Phillips Hue lights. frracingonline.com/Phillips Hue, 1L in Phillips. And we'll see you next week.
Don't forget to follow us on Spotify. Take care.
That's right. Follow us on Spotify and like us on YouTube here. So thanks for watching.